So this is a pretty big and busy week. So I have about 3 minutes until I have to go to work. And I think I'm going to read a little bit of this to kind of get my mind right and all like in sync for the work day ahead. Hello, work is done. I just took this really cool like steampunk picture that I have this print to get framed, and because of the area that I'm in right now, I just thought I would take a quick walk in this park before heading the rest of the way home, because I'm not normally on this side of town. But if you guys remember, like I set a goal for myself this week that I would walk 6,000 steps, and I was like, hey, like I'm fully aware that this is easy, but I like easy goals because then they're achievable, and then it almost makes you want to do more. Like one behavior trick I have for kids is if they are just absolutely like having a behavior meltdown, I will tell them like, I only want you to do like one problem or whatever, and I mean that, like I really only want them to do one, and then they always every single time just keep going and do way more than one. And I kind of feel like that's kind of the same thing. I said 6,000 steps. Well, I'm already at 7,000 and now I'm going for a walk. So it's going to be at least close to 10,000, I would imagine. I don't know. We'll see. But setting a small goal makes you want to do more. Hey everyone, I'm back from work and we need to discuss my January plans, which involve a bit of... So, let me give you a hint. Yes, I am participating in the WhoDunnit Readathon. So this is hosted by Bookcara, Pages with Paige, and Naomi's Bookshelf. They are all 3 channels that are pretty new to me, but I am adoring them already. So basically, before I tell you a little bit about the readathon and why I'm so obsessed with it and so excited about January, I do want to tell you a bit about the Clue House. The board game Clue features a famous floor plan. There we go. We have the ballroom, the kitchen, and basically everyone's favorite, the library. So the floor plan for how this game is set up is actually based on a true house, a house that actually exists in real life in Salem, Massachusetts. Now, not only is this based on the 2nd floor of a mansion in Massachusetts, specifically in Salem, can you get a creepier place? But there was actually a murder there. So I'll link more information about it below, but it was in the bedroom and it was with the knife. WhoDunnit Readathon is basically the absolute coolest idea ever. We are basically playing the game of Clue together as we read to solve clues, or to find clues and solve the mystery of who, well, I don't know who was murdered yet, but somebody is going to be murdered and we're going to solve the mystery. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to pick your character, because each of the characters have different perks and different kind of skills, I guess you would say. And I chose Professor Plum because in any board game, I will always choose the professor. And his little perk in this readathon game is that he gets to discover 1 extra room. So basically, they have given you an amazing little note sheet that's very similar to the one in the game. And throughout it, you are eliminating suspects, weapons, and rooms, just like in the real game, until you figure out who did the murder, who committed the murder, and with what weapon, and in what room of the mansion. So basically, like I said, with Professor Plum, I will get 1 extra room that I know about ahead of time. But then basically, instead of like going to a room and asking all the questions or whatever, you are reading your way through. So let's pretend that you want to see if it was like, well, Professor Plum, for example. You could read any book that you feel would be a good fit for Professor Plum. It does not have to be a mystery at all. But you could read a book about a fairly nerdy character, or a book with a dark academia sort of setting. It could be a book with fruit on the cover. a purple colored book. Basically anything that you can think of that would associate with Professor Plum would be one that you could read in order to kind of see if it was him or not. I think I'm gonna find out more about how this works later. And then like for each of the weapons, like think about how that could possibly lead you to a prompt for a book. There's nothing like specific, like for the knife. I would think like the subtle knife would be an amazing book to read for that. But basically there's no set prompts. You can kind of like decide whatever you think would work for the knife. For a room, maybe a library, maybe you could read a book about libraries, or a book about bookstores, or a book about books, or a book that features a library or a character who likes to read, or like basically this is so cool because it's based on Clue, but it's also like you get to read whatever the crap you want, which is why I'm telling you about it without a TBR, because you guys know I love to mood read. But anyway, yes, I'm super excited about this and I would love for you guys to join me. So let me know if you are also interested in participating, and I will link all the announcement videos below. There are 3 of them, and I'll also link all the Google Docs that the hosts of this have created, because basically you want to sign up ahead of time and figure out who your character is and let them know who your character is and that you are participating. And then there's like this little reference sheet that kind of gives you different prompt ideas, but it doesn't sound like you have to use this. You can kind of make up your own. And then there's also a sheet that kind of goes through like the rules of the game, or like a description of what it's going to be like. And we'll also include the links. So like, let's say that you read a Professor Plum book, then you would click on the link for a character, and then you would have a clue revealed. So yeah, I think this is the coolest, and I'm way excited. So now that I know like what themed readathon I'm doing for January, I think I should figure out my goals for January. However, I have not yet. I will say that banning myself from buying new books is something I do every year. It never works. However, the fact that Heather actually did it, like, is mind-blowing to me. And I feel like if one of us can actually be successful with it, then maybe it is possible.